Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm James, and as you can see here, I crashed my recent build of the Balsa USA Smoothie 40. I posted a short on this last weekend, kind of showing that what happened. And in this video, I'm just going to follow up and give you an explanation of how I crashed it. It was all my fault. It was pilot error. So what I did is last weekend I went out and took it out for the second time that I took the plane out. And the previous weekend is when I did the maiden, and I had the maiden flight, and I was really happy. It was a little tough at first, but once I got it dialed in, the plane flew great, and had a lot of fun flights that day. A little nervous still. I had some trouble with my landings. I was bouncing on my landings and coming in kind of fast. But I figured, I'm just going to have to practice that because it's a new plane. And that's what I intended to do last weekend, is I wanted to take it out again and just practice my landings and also get used to the plane and have some fun with it. And that's what I was doing. So, and then I crashed it. So I want to kind of explain that to you. So what I was doing was I was just kind of doing some kind of like touch and goes and some slow flybys, and also practicing landing and just kind of coming in and then either landing or doing a touch and go or just bringing it in slow and then climbing back out. I was doing kind of a lot of that. And I brought my video camera because I also wanted to share that with you. So I was trying to take some video of it. And let me kind of point something out real quick. I want to explain something about kind of how I did the video and something that happened with that. All right, so when I try to take video of my flying my plane, I use this, this is an 8-man, this is just kind of a knockoff, if you will, of like a GoPro. It's basically like an action cam. And what I do is I have it on this head strap mounting. And it's really, really makes me look really cool. But let me put it on here for you. So what I do is I put it on my head like this. And then obviously I'm recording and I'm trying to use this to sort of track the plane. So that's what I was doing. I got a bunch of video of several flights before I actually crashed the plane. And so I took a bunch of video and I have some clips of that. And then what I did is I took this off because I decided, I just want to go ahead and just do some flying without worrying about doing the videotape and stuff. And I was flying for a little while. Then I kind of got toward the end of my day out there, and I decided, I'm just going to go ahead and do one more. I'll do one more video. So I put this back on my head, and unfortunately what happened was, you can kind of see when I have it on here. Again, I know I look really cool with this on, but the camera was tilted a little high like that. So the camera was sort of looking higher than kind of where I was looking. So the video that I got of the crash, I didn't get it on video. So it's sort of a spoiler alert, and I don't want to lead everybody down the path thinking that they're going to see an actual video of this crash. But I did get the audio of the crash. Let me take this off because I know I look like an idiot. But I did get a video. I did get the audio. The video's there, but it's the audio of the crash. And you can hear the plane crash, and of course my reaction to it. And then I did get a video of sort of like the crash site, the debris field, if you will, with my other camera. So I just want to let everybody know that, because I didn't want to give you the impression that that I'm going to be able to show you the actual crash. But if you are still interested, continue to watch. I do have, like I said, I have videos of just some of the clips of the flying before it crashed. And yeah, I was really happy with the way the plane was flying. And so let me tell you what happened, how the plane crashed, or how I crashed the plane. All right, so what happened was, I need to talk about my transmitter. So if you remember, when I set this plane up, I put flaperons on it, which is basically the combination. I have the ailerons, and then with the settings on the transmitter, it has the option to have flaperons where the ailerons will also act as flaps. And you can assign the flap function to a variety of switches on this Futaba. This is the Futaba T6J. And the thing about it is that there's 3 different switches on here that you can use, or this kind of central knob that's on here. And the thing about the switches is none of them are like 3-way or 3-position switches. They're all just either on or off. So if I had set this up with the flaps, I would have the option of just basically having them up, retracted, or I can extend them to a certain point. But what I traditionally do on this and what I have done is that I use the center knob here for the flap setting. And let me see if I can kind of show that to you a little closer here. Okay, so here's a close-up of the transmitter. And as I said, you have these different switch options, and I've always chosen to use this center knob. And the reason I do that is because that gives me more control. It gives me a fuller or a full range of movement of the flaps. I can have it, I can have them low, I can have them kind of mid-range, and I can also have them completely extended to where I would want them to be. And typically what happens is that the amount of movement in this knob here, it has like a high amount of movement. And usually what I'm doing is I set it up to where I'm only probably using about maybe a third or a half of the total movement in the knob right here. And then what I would normally do is I would set an endpoint in this to where if I went further, it didn't matter. I only went so far with the flaps. So the flaps would only extend a certain distance. Well, what I did, and I knew I did this wasn't by accident, I just decided not to go ahead and set an endpoint on it. I guess I got a little bit lazy because I just figured, what I'll do is what I've always done is I've just sort of used this end of this side of the dial. And that was the problem. That's what happened. So what happened was I was coming in kind of slow, kind of doing a touch and go type of thing. And I came down close to the runway and I was just sort of like putting along. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and climb out and I'll reduce my flaps and I'll basically retract the flaps again. So I hit my throttle, and at the same time what I normally did, so my flaps were kind of set like right there. And then what I do is I hit my throttle and then I just pull my flaps back up like that as I climb back out. Well, I thought I did that. What I did is I came in, and you'll hear it on the video, you won't see it, but you can hear the plane, and I hit the throttle, and the plane basically did what kind of like a high-powered tip stall, if you will. Basically, it was like, it was accelerating and essentially just flipped out of the sky. And at first I didn't know what happened, but then when I was walking and looking down at my transmitter, I realized I had mistakenly had some kind of a brain freeze, or a fuse popped inside of my brain or something like this, and I actually turned the dial all the way to the right. And what that did is that created an excessive amount of movement on the flaps. So the flaps really went down really far, and what that did is that basically killed the lift, if you will. I mean, obviously you get lift off of a flap, but not when you're doing it like that. So basically what it did is the plane came in, and it did sort of like I mentioned, like a quick kind of powered tip stall, if you will, and it just kind of cartwheeled into the ground. All right, so that's what happened. And again, I apologize that I didn't get a video of that. I really was bummed out because I couldn't show it to you when I got back home and I started looking at my video footage. But I do have it, like I said, in with the audio. And like I mentioned, it was all my fault. I guess what I learned from this is that, at least for me, I'm always going to program what I need to program into my transmitter, and not think that on the fly I'm going to remember a setting or something that I have. I think that was lazy on my part not to do that. I think I was trying to get this, I know I was trying to get this plane finished up. I wanted to get it all done. I know everybody's been watching this thing for forever, and I wanted to get this thing flying. And I'll have to say that was 100% my fault, and kind of embarrassing, because I've been flying for some time and I do make mistakes. I'm not immune to screwing up, and this was a great example of that. Yeah, so the plane, real quick, the plane is actually, the plane itself obviously came completely apart, but I didn't really have a lot of damage to the engine. For example, doesn't look like it got damaged. It survived. It was pretty well encased in the balsa. I had the nose, kind of like this hatch up here, and then the lower portion, it was pretty well protected. And the area that it crashed in at our field out there, it's sort of like it's pretty soft with some low weeds, and there's lots of probably ground squirrels and gophers out there, so the ground is really soft and kind of churned up. So it did hit and it did come apart, but it didn't land on the runway. So it actually, the pieces, the parts, they lost the propeller. Obviously the propeller got broken in half. My battery looks like it's okay. The battery looks like it's all right. It didn't like rip the wires off. The spinner got scratched and stuff, but the spinner is still true. It looks like it's fine. And again, of course, the engine looked like it survived fine. And there were no holes. I didn't break any of the fuel lines. I didn't rupture the tank. And the servos looked like they're okay. I do have the only servo that I've noticed, and I didn't try it out yet, but the only servo that I noticed looks like it's broken is the rudder one. You can kind of see it doesn't move. But the elevator and the other ones look like they're okay. In fact, here's one of the aileron servos. And let's see here. The tail section actually is pretty good. The wheel, my little wheel got tweaked. And I just look at it, I remember how much time I spent doing all this stuff, and oh my gosh. So yeah, but anyhow, so the tail section didn't get too bad. The receiver had a little bit of foam packing on it, and the receiver looked like it was okay. I don't hear it's not loose or anything or cracked. I'll check it out. I'm never quite sure what to do after having a crash, if I should retire these kind of things. I mean, these the Futaba servos that I'm using, these S3004s, these are just kind of like really basic analog servos. They're not that expensive. And so after a crash like this, I'll probably just set these aside and I probably won't use them again. I probably should do the same thing for the receiver, but I'll have to think about that. So yeah, so this one's actually okay. I mean, the wing came down. Obviously the plane was, this plane was going this direction, and it kind of hit the wing first, and it sort of, like I said, it cartwheeled. So the wing hit, and then the fuselage kind of, like I said, it cartwheeled and it came apart, and then the fuselage kept going. And you'll see that in the video that I have of the crash site. So anyhow, it's a mess. So all right, so that's going to be about it. Let me show you the video clips of the successful flights, and then sort of the aftermath from the crash. And again, thank you for everybody who has sent me sort of the supportive comments. I appreciate it. I got lots of people saying, I crashed mine last year, I crashed it this time, this happens to everyone. And it is part of the hobby. And it is, when you building kits, you actually, you put a lot more into it when you're building a kit. So it's a bigger gut punch to me than if I'm building an ARF and it crashes. I never want to crash anything, even an ARF. It's time and money that you invest in it, no matter what you do, whether it's an ARF or whether you build it. But there's just a little bit, to me, there's a little bit of a bigger sting when you've just got through building something. But you know what? I've sort of accepted that. Well, I have accepted that in the hobby because I've crashed before, and then I build something else. So, but I do appreciate that everybody's nice comments and that. So anyhow, so enjoy the next few video clips of the Smoothie before it died, and we'll see you next time. bouncy tires, I'll tell you that much. Oh shit. Oh. Oh. Oh shit. Oh. Oh my god. I was coming off of sort of a touch and go. Holy shit. And I was taking my flaps. I thought I was turning my flaps off, or taking my flaps back up, I should say. And I went the opposite way on my control, on the control knob, and the thing just ate it. I can't believe it. Holy cow.